All right, I'm back. All right, now look. Today, I'm finna show you how to make chicken parm. Something that is super delicious, but is always a classic. This is what you're gonna need. Black peppercorn, garlic powder, onion powder, some coarse kosher salt. I have thinly sliced chicken breasts that I already picked up that were thinly sliced. If they're not thin enough to my liking, I'll pat them down a little bit more. Or you can just start with a chicken breast. One chicken breast, you can probably get about 3 cutlets per breast. Today, I'm only going to make about four or five chicken cutlets. So that's the reason why I got these already pre-sliced. 2 eggs, some seasoned breadcrumbs. I'm going to be using my homemade marinara sauce. If you've not seen how I make that, I definitely highly suggest that you go look at that video so you'll know how to make it. Some fresh mozzarella, basil, freshly ground Parmigiana Reggiano, some all-purpose flour, and you're going to need some olive oil for frying. You see that? You see that? You see that? Don't ask me for the damn ingredient list. Child, come on. Alrighty, so like I said, making chicken parm is so incredibly easy, but the first thing you want to do is set yourself up to succeed. So go on ahead and get your dredging station set up. I have 1.5 cups of flour here, my 2 large eggs in a separate container, and then I have my Italian breadcrumbs in a separate one. There's no specific measurements for the Italian breadcrumbs. You just need to make sure that you have enough so that you can coat the chicken, of course. But to my flour, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of the garlic powder, the onion powder, and then I'm going to add in some black pepper as well. So like I said, teaspoon onion powder, teaspoon garlic powder, crushed black peppercorn. And instead of using the coarse kosher salt today, I'm actually going to use my pink Himalayan salt, which is fine, and I'm using 1/4 of a teaspoon. Now give all of that a good mix. Of course, lightly beat your eggs. You can add in a splash of water if you would like, but do not add milk. And then to the breadcrumbs, since they're already seasoned, I'm only going to be adding in 2 tablespoons of the freshly grated Parmigiana Reggiano. Give that a mix. Don't get overzealous and feel like you need to add too much in this part because you're going to be topping it off with some more later on, which is also the reason why you want to be mindful of how much salt you're using. The breadcrumbs, sodium. Your flour dredge has salt. Also remember, the cheese itself is very salty. You also have the marinara sauce. So you have to think about all of those things combined together. So be mindful of how much salt. You can always add salt, but you can't take it away. Give that a good mix. All right, y'all, so let's run down the station that we have going on here. I have my chicken cutlets. They actually did a really nice job on actually making these nice and thin already. I don't need to make them any thinner than that. That's perfect. If you want them thinner for like an even crispier texture, by all means. But for me, that's actually perfect. I have my flour here, which is 1.5 cups of flour with a teaspoon of both garlic powder and onion powder. I've also added in black pepper and 1/4 of a teaspoon of fine pink Himalayan salt. I have my homemade marinara sauce right there ready to go. I have 2 large eggs in here that have been lightly beaten with a splash of water. Do not add milk. And then I have my Italian breadcrumbs, which are seasoned, that I've also added in 2 tablespoons of freshly grated Parmigiana Reggiano. Pan is right here ready to go. We're going to add the olive oil in a second, and so that you can just keep everything moving, make sure that you have a tray with a rack already ready to go so that as you take the chicken out, the oil from that chicken can drop off so that it stays nice and crispy. And because this does not take long to make, go ahead and start the process of preheating your oven to 375 degrees. And I don't know if you guys remember or not, but this is my favorite olive oil to use anytime I'm making my pizza out on my firewood pizza oven outside. But it's also a fantastic oil to use for frying. So I'm going to use just enough to do a shallow fry. We're not trying to deep fry it. So I would say this is maybe about 1/2 cup or so worth. That is the perfect amount. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up to temp. All right, let's do it. So first things first, you're going to take your piece of chicken. You're going to coat it in the flour. Make sure that it is nicely coated. Cover it up fully. You're going to shake off any of the excess. Shake that on off. Then you're going to put it into the egg mixture like so. Flip her over. You want to make sure that both sides are fully coated in the egg mixture. Then you take it, drain off any of the extra egg, put it in your breadcrumbs, and then coat your chicken. I'm going to repeat this process until all of them are completely done, and then it'll go directly into the oil. And you want to make sure that you are patting it down because you want to make sure that every surface is completely coated in your Italian breadcrumbs here, so that once it's all done, it'll look just like that. And y'all know how I feel about this. Clean as you go. So once your chicken is done getting dredged, you can go on ahead and add it directly into the oil. Now that I can tell that my oil is at temp, I'm gonna go on ahead and carefully just lay that directly in there. And I'm only gonna add in 2 pieces at a time because I don't want this to lower in temperature. So 2 pieces, allow it to fry roughly about 2 to 3 minutes on both sides. Okay, this has roughly been going for about 2 minutes or so. So I'm gonna go on ahead and flip that over. And look at that, absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna flip this one over as well and allow it to go for another, like I said, 2-3 minutes. And then once it's all done, I'm gonna transfer these over to the wire rack so that I can allow the excess oil to drop off. While your chicken is frying, go on ahead and get the baking dish of your choice. And I'm going to line the bottom of this with some of my homemade marinara sauce. Not too much, just enough to lay the chicken on. And I'm gonna spread this out just a little bit. Like I said, not too much, just enough to put the chicken on top of it. Just like that. Perfect. Alrighty, you guys, my chicken is all done. It's looking absolutely beautiful. So like I said, now I'm just gonna transfer it over to the rack and allow some of that excess oil to drop off. And I'm gonna continue to repeat this process with all of the chicken until it is all done. Just like that. Alrighty, you guys, I've just finished up my last chicken cutlet here. Again, absolutely beautiful. Lay it on the rack, and now all of your chicken cutlets are all done. I have my pan here that I'm going to be putting the chicken cutlets in, and I have my mozzarella cheese ready to go. All right, so first things first, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to put down my chicken just like so. Lay those down. I'm telling you guys, chicken cutlets are great on their own. Like, even if you wanted to use these to put inside of like a chicken Caesar wrap, you could do this. But, you know, chicken Parmesan is one of my favorite meals. I could probably eat this twice a week if I really wanted to. But as you can see, I have it nestled on top of that bed of sauce. Now, if you are a person that loves extra sauce, by all means add in more. But I really like for my chicken cutlets to stay kind of nice and crispy. So that's the reason why I only do it on the bottom half. And then I keep sauce to the side so that if you want to add in more, you can add in more right before you're about to eat it. And so now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna put 2 pieces of the fresh mozzarella right across the top in the center. I'm telling you guys, this dish is just, My oven is already preheated to 375 degrees. So I have my mozzarella going right across the top, just like so. And of course, before it goes in the oven, I'm going to top it off with a little bit of fresh basil. Now, don't worry, when this comes out of the oven, I'm going to put even more on it. But just for right now, that's perfect. And honestly, because I am who I am, I got to go right across the top of this with a light drizzle of the olive oil right across the top. Now she can go in the oven, honey. And just like that, 15 minutes later at 375, I top it off with some fresh basil, some more Parmigiana Reggiano, and this dish is ready to be served. And that, my friends, is how I make my chicken Parmesan. Super simple, always a hit. You can eat it by itself, serve it with pasta if you want. I actually like to eat it just like this. Thanks for watching, honey. And as you can see, the chicken is nice and juicy, perfectly cooked, nice and thin. Let's go in for a taste, shall we? Cheers. Bomb. My God, on today. Goodbye.